Hello everyone. This video is on the Knewton Alta assignment for section 3.1 called An Introduction to Problem Solving. Alright, so in this video I'm going to be doing a preview version of this assignment. So please understand that the questions I see in this video may or may not be the same questions that you see when you work on the assignment yourself. But, all the objectives are the same, the structure is similar, so I'm hoping that watching me do these here helps you out in some way when you're trying to do it on your own. Alright, so your assignment page, you should see the title. You should be seeing the mastery bar, right, telling you how far along you've gotten. Look at your objectives. There are 3 objectives in this particular problem, or particular assignment. And under the current objective, there should be a question related to that objective. And then underneath each question, there should be a feedback button where you can send feedback to Knewton if you wish. You will not have this instructor cheat button. Right, this is available for instructors only. But you will have a more instruction button, which I will be using in this video when we get to the objective about problem solving. But if you click on this, you'll be taken to some reading or some videos or both that you can study, and you'll be given questions related to that instruction, and getting through those questions is another way to get through the assignment. Alright, so first objective I'm looking at here is solve a number problem involving consecutive integers. So we're told here the sum of 2 consecutive integers is 141. Find the integers. So you just have to remember what that means. Well, first of all, the integers is this set of numbers. Basically all the whole numbers and their opposites. So -4 is an integer, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. I got the little ellipses at the ends here. It goes on this way forever in both directions. Consecutive integers just have a difference of 1. Right, so like -3 and -2 are consecutive integers. 1 and 2 are consecutive integers, right? So it's just consecutive means just one right after the other. So yeah, consecutive integers are just, integers that have a difference of 1. Now they may also have problems involving consecutive even integers, which would be -4 and then -2 and then 0, then 2, then 4. Those are the evens, multiples of 2. Those have a difference of 2. Same thing for consecutive odd integers. If you ever see that, that'd be 1, then 3, then 5, then 7. Those also have a difference of 2. Alright, so just pay attention if the word even or odd shows up. Now I read through the problem, right, and it said the sum of 2 consecutive integers was 141. Find the integers. So you read through the problem, and then you ask yourself, what don't I know? What are the unknown quantities? Especially, what are the unknown quantities that they're asking me to find? Well, there are these 2 integers, right? There's integer 1, integer number 1, and integer number 2. Right, I don't know what these are. So you identify some unknown quantities after reading through the problem. And then instead of writing out all these words all the time, I'm going to call these something. So say the integer number 1, say this is the smaller of the two. Because, say one's smaller, one's bigger. Say this is the smaller one. And I can call that, x. So every time I see the letter x, I know I'm talking about this smaller of the two integers. Alright, and then you can call the second integer, which would obviously be the larger integer. You can call the second one some other letter if you want. Call it y, call it z, whatever you want. But we're going to try our best to keep the number of letters, the number of variables, to a minimum. Now, that's why I wrote this up here. If the two integers we're looking for are consecutive integers, if the smaller one is x, then the next one will be x plus 1. Right, that would be the very next integer, right? Like from 0 to 1, or 1 to 2, or 2 to 3, right? Those are consecutive integers. You just add 1. All right, and then we are told, again, the sum of these, remember sum is adding, x plus 1, all right, the smaller integer plus the next one. The sum of these is 141. So I guess you could call this like the translate step. Right, and you saw translations earlier actually in some chapter 2 sections where we translated English sentences into mathematical statements. Well, that's what you do. After you have identified your unknowns, what they're asking for, and assign some expressions to those unknowns, then you're going to go back and through and translate some stuff into math. Translate English sentences into mathematical statements, which I have just done here. The sum of two consecutive integers, x plus 1, is 141, and then we solve for x, and that'll help us answer the question. Alright, so now we solve our question. Solve our equation here. This would be 2x plus 1 on the left after combining like terms. There's really no need for the parentheses here. It's not being multiplied by anything. Equals 141. Then I would subtract 1 from both sides. We get 2x equals 140. Divide both sides by 2. X equals 70. And then use it to answer the question. Right, use the solution to our equation or our inequality, whatever we set up, and answer the question. The two integers that we're looking for are the following. One of them was called x, which was 70, and then the larger one was x plus 1, which would be 70 plus 1, or 71. And here you go. This is the answer to our question, right, or what they're asking us to find. Two consecutive integers, right, 70 then 71, their difference is 1, they're consecutive, whose sum is 141, right? 70 plus 71 would indeed be 141. So I've checked it out, and then of course, check your solution at the end, right? So you identify unknowns, call them something, right? And I guess you could say this is called naming them. Then you translate some English into math using those names, using those expressions, solve your equation, answer the question, check your answers. That's so now that I've gone through that, actually, I'm not gonna click on more instruction later. Those are the steps I'm gonna be following every single time for all the problems in this video. So yeah, put them in order here. 70 in one box. Comma, and then 71 in the other box. And you could have also probably just thought about that one a little bit. Yeah, and here they are. So you read the problem. Identify what you're looking for. These are the unknowns. Right? Name them. Name those unknowns. Now they call them n and n plus 1. I call them x and x plus 1. It doesn't matter. Right? As long as they represent consecutive integers. Translate into equations, right? N plus 1 equals 141, like I had with x instead of n. Solve the equation, and then answer the question. I mean, they should have really put step 6, answer the question, because the solution of the equation is only part of the answer. Right? What you're going to be doing is taking the solutions of your equations and using those solutions to answer the question at hand. And then, of course, as always, the last step should be check your solutions. Make sure they make sense. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention, when you submit an answer, it'll give you these answer explanations, after it tells you if you're right or wrong. Please read through the answer explanations, kind of like I just did now. Make sure you understand why something was right or why something was wrong. And hopefully you can learn from your mistakes for future questions. Alright, so now we have solve a number problem. So it's the same steps. Alright, I'm doing the same steps for every single one of these. You read, you identify your unknowns, you name your unknowns, you then translate English into math, translate into an equation, solve the equation, answer your question, check your solutions. So here, 6 times the sum of a number and 8 is 30. Find the number. So the unknown here is this number. Alright, so I'll write this out. So I don't know what this number is. I'll call it, n for number. And then we go back and translate, 6 times the sum of a number and 8. Here's the sum of a number and 8. Alright, that's the sum of a number and 8, n plus 8. And then we have, 6 times this. So this is the quantity n plus 8 times 6. Here is 6 times the sum of a number and 8. Is equals 30. So there's our English statement translated into an equation. Then I can distribute the 6 if I wish, or divide by 6, but I'll just do what I've been doing for most of these videos. 6 times n plus 48 equals 30. Subtract 48 from both sides. 6n equals negative 18. Divide both sides by 6. N equals negative 3, and that is all we're asked to do, is find that number, right? There's no other number. Like in the last problem, we had to find 2 numbers, right? 2 consecutive integers. And then check it, negative 3 plus 8. The sum of negative 3 and 8 is 5. 6 times 5 is 30. That indeed works out. So negative 3 is the number in question. But I read through the problem. I identified what was unknown. What did they want? They wanted this number. I named it something, n. Then I translated the statements into English, from English into math, solved, and then checked. Answer the question and check. Same steps every single time. That number is negative 3. All right. Okay, next. So yeah, use a problem-solving strategy for word problems. Same thing. I read the problem. I identify what's unknown. What do they want from me? All right. What are they asking for? Then I name those things. I call them some expression with some variables. Right? Then you translate some statements into mathematical equations or inequalities or whatever. We'll just be doing equations here in this beginning section. Solve the equation, and then use that solution to answer the question at hand, and make sure to check your results, make sure it makes sense. Alright, so I'll leave this up. Hopefully you can see the question and my paper. So the statement is, 3/4 of the people at a concert are children. There's a sentence that'll be translated into an equation. And there are 87 children. What is the total number of people at the concert, right? So the number of people at this concert is what is being asked for. Number of people at concert. I'm hoping you can read my writing there, and once I'm done setting everything up, I'll make the paper bigger and solve and answer the question. I'm going to call this, P for people. Why not? You can call it X, Y, Z, whatever you want. Right? As long as you understand what it represents. Now, the first statement is my sentence, is that I'm going to translate in an equation. It says 3/4 of the people. So 3/4 times P. Right? That means 3/4 of, right? Usually the word of between two quantities implies multiplication. So 3/4 of the people at a concert, so 3/4 times P, are children equals number of children. Right? R is the verb. Usually the verb is where the equal sign goes, or the inequality symbol if you're writing an inequality, but this is R children equals children. And we know that the number of children is 87. So I'm putting 87 on the other side. So this is 3/4 of the people at this concert are equals children, which, there were 87 children. And then I'm solving this equation. Pardon me. Alright, now here, pretty simple, right? To get P alone, I would just multiply both sides by 4/3. So on the left side we have P. On the right side, 3 goes into 87 29 times. And then you're left with just 4 times 29, which would be 116, right? 80 plus 36, 116 people. Right? That's what P represented, right? There are 116 people at this concert. And there's the answer to the question. And again, make sure it makes sense. 3/4 of 116 should be 87. 4 goes into 116 29 times, and then 3 times 29 is 87. So that works out. So 116 people at this concert. They say I followed the same steps, and I think they didn't really go through the steps here, but they mentioned them earlier, right? Read the problem, identify the unknowns. What are they asking for? What do you not know? Name those something, call them some expression with some variables in it, maybe a variable. Translate into math, solve the resulting math, solve the resulting equation, and then use your solutions to answer the question. Same steps every time. Okay, so once again, another sum of two consecutive integers is some number is -133. Find those integers. So again, these integers are what I don't know. Now they are consecutive integers, they said. Again, these are the unknowns. So I'm going to call one of them x and the other one x plus 1. Alright, just like earlier. Because if the smaller one is x, then the next one's, x plus 1. Or you could call one of them x and the other one x minus 1. It doesn't matter. Then they said the sum of these two integers. Right, so x plus 1 equals, -133. And I'm solving this for x and then using it to find my two integers here the way I called them, the way I named them. Alright, so this is 2x plus 1 on the left equals -133. Subtracting 1 gives me 2x on the left equals -134. And then dividing by 2, I get x equals -67. So this is -67 here, and then plus 1 would be -66, and there's your answer. Those are the two numbers, two consecutive integers that add up to -133. So in one box, -67, and the other box, -66. Okay, and again, in the answer explanations here, they're taking you through the steps of problem, the basic steps of problem solving again. All right, so here's just a number problem once again. not involving consecutive integers or anything. Alright, so I guess I should be keeping the problems up. Alright, so here's the problem. Question: one number is 14 less than another. If their sum is increased by 7, the result is 85. Find the numbers. So again, the unknowns here are these numbers. Now, there are two of them. There are two expressions, one number and the other. So maybe the larger number and the smaller number. And I said one number is 14 less than another. So I could call one number x and then the other one x minus 14. Right? So, this number and then this number is 14 less than that one. I hope that makes sense. Just try to keep, again, you can call them x and y, but eventually you're going to have to replace that y with x minus 14, or the x with y plus 14. As long as their difference is 14, as long as one of them is 14 more than the other or 14 less than the other, you're good. Then it says their sum is increased by 7. So that means I add these up, x plus, x minus 14, there's their sum. And they said that this is increased by 7, so I add 7 more to it, and the result is 85. This is equal to 85. And then we're asked to find these two numbers here. What is x? What is x minus 14? Alright, so easy enough here. You got 2x over here, and then negative 14 plus 7 would be minus 7 equals 85. Just combining like terms over here, and then adding 7 to both sides, we get 2x equals 92. Dividing by 2, x equals 46. Alright, so this number that I just called x is 46, and then this other number is 46 minus 14, which would be 32. Right. And there you go. These are the two numbers that they're asking for, 46 and 32. And then let's double check that. It says, their sum, which is 78. If you increase it by 7, you'll get 85. Yeah, 78 plus 7 is indeed 85. So these are the two numbers they were talking about. All right, 46 and 32. And it doesn't say anything about putting them least to greatest or anything, so let's type them in the way I had them. Wonderful. Yeah, same steps every time. I read it. What were my unknowns? What did they ask me for? I named them, x and x minus 14, then I translated into an equation, solved that equation, answered the question, and of course check the solutions at the end. Alright, so here's another problem-solving strategy problem here. Alright, so once again I'll just have it up on the screen. So here, Erica earned a total of $50,450 last year from her 2 jobs. The amount she earned from her job at the store was $1,250 more than 4 times the amount she earned from her job at the college. How much did she earn from her job at the college? So the amount earned from the college job is the unknown here. So I'll just call that x again. I'll use x a lot. Or you can call it C for college, whatever you want. Now they said the amount earned from the store job, or her job at the store, right? They said the amount she earned from her job at the store was $1,250 more than 4 times what she earned at the college. So if you take 4 times what she earned at the college, which would be 4 times x, and then add $1,250 to that, that's how much she earned at her store job. Now comes the putting these together to make an equation. The very first sentence, Erica earned a total, meaning sum, adding, a total of $50,450 from her 2 jobs. So the college job money, the X, plus the store job money, the 4X plus 1250, this should total $50,000 and $50,450. And now we're going to solve this equation and answer the question. So over here, don't need the parentheses really, just combining like terms. We have 5x plus 1,250 equals, 50,450. And then I would subtract 1,250 from both sides. So over here we have 5 times x equals 0, 0, 2, and 49. So 49,200. And then divide both sides by 5. Now when I divide this by 5, or if we do this, division by 5, I'm doing long division here. 9 goes into 49, sorry, 5. 5 goes into 4 0 times, no, nothing there. 49 9 times, and then 9 times 45, 5 is 45. With 4 left over, drop the 2. 5 goes into 42 8 times. 40, 2, 0, and then drop that 0. Then you got 4, and then 0, and then 0 again. So the zeros the rest of the way. 9,849. So $9,840 at the college job she made. Because that was X, right? So X represents the amount she earned at the college job, right? $9,840. And then the rest of it would have been at the store job, right? The rest of the 50,450. But this is it. That's all they asked us for, was the college. How much does she earn at the college job? So 9,840. Great. All right, and they said C instead of X, whatever. All right, same objective. So once again, I'll have the problem up with some paper. All right, so this says Lori has $46,000 invested in stocks. The amount invested in stocks is $8,000 less than 3 times the amount invested in bonds. How much does Lori have invested in bonds? So the amount of money invested in bonds is what is being asked of us here. And again, I'll call this B this time for bonds. Why not? And then the sentence is, the amount invested in stocks is, well, they said she has $46,000 in stocks. So $46,000 is, 46,000 equals 8,000 less than 3 times her bond amount. So 3 times the bond investment, 3B, but 8,000 less than that, right? Minus 8,000. And there's our equation. All right. Says the amount invested in stocks, this 46,000, is then $8,000 less than 3 times the amount invested in bonds. And I'm solving this for B. So first I'd add 8,000 to both sides. Right? So that's 54,000 over here equals 3b, and then divide both sides by 3. Now 3 goes into 54 18 times. This is 18,000 equals B, right? So this is $18,000, B, right? B represents the amount invested in bonds. And there you have it. And triple that is 54,000 minus 8,000 would be 46,000. This all works out. So the amount she has invested in bonds is $18,000. Alright, and one more of these problem-solving questions. Alright, so again, I'll make sure that you can see the problem. Now it says here, Philip pays $1,620 in rent every month. This amount, right, this $1,620 is $120 more than twice what his brother Paul pays for rent. How much does Paul pay for rent? So Paul's rent is the unknown. And you know what? I'm going to call that P for Paul. Now they say this amount, right, this $1,620 that Phil pays in rent, this amount equals $120 more than twice what Paul pays. So if you double what Paul pays and then add 120, that's what Philip pays, and we get this equation here. Right, and that's definitely the most difficult part, I feel, of all these is translation into math. I mean, the more practice you get with it, the better you'll get at it, as with anything. So now I'm solving this for P. So first let's subtract 120. Now if I subtract 120, you'd have 1,500 on the left equals 2p, and then dividing by 2, cutting 1,500 in half would be $750. Right, so Paul's rent every month is $750 as opposed to Philip's rent, which is twice that plus 120. Paul's rent, $750. Right. Okay, and then the rest of them are those number problems, either consecutive integers or numbers. Solve a number problem. Alright, so once again, I'll make sure you can read the sentence they have there, the problem. Let's get a piece of paper out here. So, it says one number is 11 less than the other. If their sum is increased by 8, the result is 71. Find these numbers, right? So I'm going to have two expressions, right? These numbers that we're looking for. Now, I'll call one number x, and it said the other number, was 11 less than that. So x minus 11. You could call them x and x minus 11, or x and x plus 11. It really doesn't matter, as long as their difference is 11. Or as long as one is 11 less than the other one. Then it says their sum is increased, so x plus x minus 11, this sum is increased by 8, so you add 8 more, and the result is 71. So here's the equation we're looking at. And then find these numbers. Right. So over here we have 2x, and then negative 11 plus 8 is minus 3 equals 71. Adding 3 to both sides, you get 2x equals 74. And then dividing by 2, x equals 37. All right, so one of these numbers is 37. The other one's got to be 26 then. All right, if I called one of them x and x is 37, the other one I called x minus 11, so I'm subtracting 11 from that for 26. And there you go, those are what they want. And let's double check, if I take their sum, that'd be 63, sorry. If I add these up, I get 63, and then if you add 8 to that, you got 71, so it works. makes sense with the problem, the way they posed it. So 37 and 26 are the two numbers being described there. All right. So another number problem. Again, you can read the question above my paper, hopefully. It says the sum of two numbers is negative 45. One number is 9 more than the other. Find the numbers. Right? So again, these numbers are unknown, and if I call one of them x, the other one's got to be x plus 9. Right, because it did say one number was 9 more than the other one. Or I could have x and x minus 9, as long as the difference is 9. And then the first sentence is just simply the sum is negative 45. So x plus 9 is negative 45. And then this is 2x plus 9 on the left equals negative 45 on the right. If you subtract 9, that would be negative 54. And then divide by 2, x would be negative 27. Right? So this number I called x is negative 27. Add 9 to that, you get negative 18. And those are the two numbers in question. And their sum is indeed negative 45, right, when you add them up. So negative 27 and negative 18. Great. All right, and then my last problems should involve those consecutive integers again. Alright, so the sum of two consecutive integers is negative 139. Find the integers. So again, back here, I'll just make sure you can see the problem again. So these two integers, remember, they are consecutive integers. So just like all the other ones involving consecutive integers, if I call one of them x, then the other one's got to be either x minus 1 or x plus 1. As long as they're 1 apart. And it just says the sum of them, so x plus 1, the sum of them has to be negative 139. And I hope you can see that x is going to be negative 70 here. We have 2x plus 1 equals negative 139. Subtract 1. 2x equals negative 140. Divide by 2. X equals negative 70, right? So this one I called x is negative 70, and the one I called x plus 1 would be negative 69. Those are the two numbers whose are consecutive integers, and their sum is negative 139. So negative 70, negative 69. Great, and I should just have one more of these based on my progress. Again, the same steps every single time here. The sum of two consecutive integers is 1, oh my goodness, 0 and 1. I'm not even going to write an equation for that. Now you could do the x and x plus 1 again. X plus 1, 2x plus 1 is equal to 1, meaning 2x equals 0, or x equals 0. And if x equals 0, x plus 1 equals 1. The numbers in question here are 0 and 1. That was kind of a silly one. Alright, and that should be it for this preview version of this assignment. Now, like I said at the top of the video, the questions I saw here may not be the same questions that you see when you work on the assignment yourself, but the objectives are the same. The steps you follow, the structure is the same. So I'm hoping that watching me do these here helps you in some way when you're working on the assignment on your own. And thank you very much for watching.